So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Red Lorry Film Festival Take 2, curated by Book My Show and brought to you by Book a Change. It's an honor to welcome a filmmaker whose name is synonymous with gripping thrillers and masterful storytelling, Mr. Sriram Raghavan.
Thank you. Thank you.
From Ek Hasina Thi to Johnny Gadar, Badlapur, Andhadhun, and Merry Christmas, his films have redefined suspense, noir, and crime cinema in India. His deep love for classic thrillers and detective stories reflects in his work, making him the perfect guest for this special session. Today, he has curated a selection of detective films celebrating the genre's timeless appeal. And in a special presentation, he will introduce one of the greatest thrillers ever made, The Day of the Jackal. So we're going to dive into a Q&A before the movie, and Mr. Raghavan will also introduce the film and tell us why it's such a masterpiece. So we're going to open it up for questions, and after that we'll go into the screening. So please do take a minute to also silence your phones, please. Thank you.
Well, see, it's not that I've done some major prep for introducing the movie. This is a film, Day of the Jackal, is something I saw when I was in school the first time. And these are the movies that probably, in fact, all the movies I've sort of curated for this festival, edition 2, French Connection, all these are movies from the early 70s. And we were in school and we used to see the trailer for 6 months before the movie actually comes. Here we had read the book. I mean, the Frederick Fawcett book on which it is based is also a wonderful read. After this, they also made Odessa File, which also by Frederick Fawcett, also a wonderful Nazi thriller. So, yeah, tell me, I mean, you can ask. I don't know how much to talk about the movie because it's a thriller, and also I was wondering, you just go to Google or something, you will just read everything about it. And the best thing about some movies is not to know too much, except, of course, the basic thing is it's an assassination movie, a thriller where there's this, the French OAS, there's a group which after the Algeria was declared independent, they wanted to assassinate de Gaulle. They tried once, didn't work out. Then they hired this mercenary, sort of mysterious hitman, the Jackal, played by Edward Fox. And then this film is basically about, you see the killer and you see how he is planning, and you see the detective, how he is trying to find him. And like in all these movies, thanks to it's masterfully directed by Fred Zinnemann. So you start sort of rooting for the bad guy. You start rooting for the thriller. This is not the right thing to do, but that's what you're forced to. That's the way the movie is. And of course, there's a heart-stopping moment in the end, which I won't tell you about. The last shot, actually.
Can I ask a question? And just as a fan, there have been two remakes that we've seen. One was a modernized version of the Jackal. And the
Bruce Willis version.
The Bruce Willis version, yeah, and Richard Gere Bruce. And the other one, which was a TV series that just came out. Have you had a chance to see any?
No, I have not seen the TV series. I saw the Bruce Willis film, of course. And, it's good, but it's not there,
Yes.
So that usually happens when you take a classic kind of film and do it. But yeah, it's open to interpretation. Bruce Willis, they had updated the story. They had done so many changes. I have not seen the series, actually.
Would you adapt it in India? Because you have done a lot of great adaptations. Is this something that you would like to do?
No, I mean, this is a historical fiction, so it has to have some root in our movies. I mean, there have been films on various political assassinations in India which have been made. Here, I mean, what you can take from this kind of a film is the storytelling, the cinematic, the whatever rules of the game they use to make it work. And it's there's this film critic Roger Ebert. I just read his reviews, and about this film he says one thing, which is he says it's a 2.5-hour film which goes by like 15 minutes. Yeah. I mean, which is a high praise, and
Sure.
so, and it's actually 2.5 hours of watching a plan being made and trying and executing. It's just very, very gripping. I mean, as I remember it, I have not seen it recently. I'm tempted to watch a little bit of the movie today also, and let me see whether I'll watch it, and I'm sure it holds very well now.
Please watch it because we've got a restored version.
Yeah, that's the reason.
I think you'll love what we're doing.
And
Any questions regarding the movie, Mr. Raghavan's movies, his filming, what makes a great detective film? Any questions are welcome from the audience. No, but I'd love to know, what are the ingredients that go into a good psychological thriller, according to you?
not according to me. I mean, There's so many of them made. The big rules are like, I mean, I am a big student of Hitchcock. And so he says, give the audience maximum information, So the audience is like, knows more than the actual characters know, which is one of the things that always helps, which I had sort of tried in Johnny Gadar and all, where the audience knows who's the killer. They know everything. But the characters don't know. So the fun is to sort of see, okay, how does A outwit B and vice versa and kind of thing.
Do you think the genre has evolved at all from the 70s to now, especially now with the web series and people wanting to know everything beforehand?
I definitely think so. See, the detective genre is something which is there. I mean, from whatever mid 19th century, even before. I mean, Edgar Allan Poe and Conan Doyle and all these guys. So it keeps evolving. And now, I mean, in between there was this big burst of Scandinavian sort of thrillers which come out, and So now I think, right now, I think in India at least Malayalam cinema is doing, they are doing terrific work in thrillers. I mean, the last 3-4 years I've seen so many really good films there, which are, and they really sort of have got a grip on the thriller right now, I feel, more than Hindi and other places.
So you feel it's evolved, it's changed, or it's the similar rules apply to filmmaking?
No, it keeps evolving, and we have to, as filmmakers, we have to find, our writers, we have to find ways to say things differently. I mean, no longer can you just say, okay, I'll make a whodunit and get away with it. It has to have much more nuance and layers and so many more things, And there is too much available. So, so you have to...
You had a question.
So I have a question. Most of the classic detective movies, I'm guessing also Day of the Jackal, I haven't seen it yet, are based on the hard-boiled detective, which is coming from like post-war, has a jacket, and they're also like very suave in that sense. So that makes the detective and the thriller thing work seamlessly. I wanted to understand in the new age bumbling detective genre, jisme we have Sherlock, we also have Byomkesh Bakshi, which are like more cerebral. They are not really good with guns and all. So my question is that is thriller an important aspect of being a detective film, or can we have a detective film without the thriller element of it as well? And can that play be done in a purely cerebral way? So what I'm basically asking is, can we have a detective movie without guns and crime?
Of course. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen, there's this Hitchcock film called Notorious. It's a 1940s film. I'm sure I've not seen it. But anyway, it's worth watching. But that's a film, the spy film, which has not one act of violence which you see on screen. Yet violence has to be there in some manner, but it doesn't have to be on screen kind of thing. And the thriller is, the thriller is a very vast genre, and the detective is one sub-genre in that. Within the detective, there will be you're talking about the gumshoe, the hard-boiled detective, the Raymond Chandler, and this t-shirt I'm wearing is The Big Sleep. That's a hard-boiled detective, where the detective is Humphrey Bogart. He's in his office and he gets a call. He has to go. I mean, he gets a visit from a femme fatale, and that's how these stories start. Then there are all kinds of thrillers now. I mean, the detective has become. I mean, like I was talking about Malayalam films. I mean, recently I saw one where this housewife was moved into the door. She becomes a detective. So in the sense, it's up to us to make the detective is basically somebody who's searching for the truths and what they find and how they find it and so on. So there's also Pink Panther, the bumbling Clouseau, who solves things by making mistakes, and almost stumbling upon them. So I think the genre is just evolving and keeps evolving, and we have to keep trying to make new things because they've seen them all. I mean, most people have seen too many, so you have to find a new way of showing these. What do we do? How do we make it work?
Thank you, sir.
It's so nice to meet you, sir. I'm a huge fan of your work. As you mentioned, sir, I saw your T-shirts. Great. The Big Sleep. Regarding that, I'll keep my question short. I lately got into the noir genre. Some days ago, I was watching Touch of Evil. Can you recommend some noir films, sir?
Oh, there are quite a few I must have recommended. It must be there on the net for sure. But you said Touch of Evil. That's something we should get next time, maybe, or we should get a Orson Welles retrospective. Touch of Evil is another kind of detective, where the detective is a cop. Who there are, of course, the detective is also the villain in the movie. Anyway, I won't tell you too much. There are two detectives. So, but I'm saying that's one kind of another take on the police procedural and things like that. So there are all kinds of stories there. I have to recommend you many movies, but there are many. So
this is a plug for the next season. So please be around.
Yeah. I mean, next season we should try and get black and white detective movies or black and white thrillers, because this whole black and white is itself a fascinating I mean, I don't know, most of you may not be, it's black and white, I won't watch it, it's old kind of thing. So it's not like that. There's one beautiful thing I read recently. There are no old movies, there are only movies you have not seen. So in that sense, let's try and we'll organize. Yeah.
Sir, any one movie, sir, you will recommend from that era, 50s or 60s?
There's a movie called The Fallen Idol.
The Fallen Idol.
It's a Graham Greene story directed by Carol Reed. I don't know how you'll find it, but I'm sure you guys have ways of finding all these movies. So.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Are there any lessons filmmakers can take from The Day of the Jackal?
See, to make a 2.5-hour film which doesn't have any sort of relief in the usual sense of the word, like humor or a love story or some other track, is just a relentless kind of a thing, you know. So it needs guts to stick with that kind of a approach in storytelling. But that's what I think among the things I don't know exactly what you will learn from one particular movie. It's a kind of if you see Chinatown, you'll learn something else. You know, if you see French Connection, there's another kind of a detective. So yeah, but every good movie will teach us something, you know, especially writers and filmmakers, and so every good movie has that profit for us.
So just one last question. Sure.
How did the story come up? I have seen the movie. I haven't seen any discussions around it. But I loved the movie. What I also wanted to ask, so one, how did it come up? And when you started the schedule, was it complete, as in all the plots were there, or something evolved during the shoot?
See, Meticulous was based on a French novella. So the basic story, the source material was there. Now that was written in the early 60s, and of course when you make it today, I also didn't want to update it to today. So it was set in an ambiguous time in the 80s kind of a thing, you know, in Bombay. We shifted everything, and so now, of course, when you adapt a novella, I mean, you have to find your own ways of making it cinematic, you know. So there are a lot of changes we have made. If you read the book and then watch the movie, I mean, they'll be similar but very different. I mean, the rest you have to watch it. You tell me. The book ends differently and all that.
So, Mr. Raghavan, what draws you to the deception and the dark, and what is it in your mind that draws you to these kind of stories and maybe even filmmaking?
I don't know, yeah. It just started like, maybe it may have begun with Enid Blyton for all you know. You know, when you read those Enid Blyton, those Hardy Boys and all this, when you read in school, and then you graduate to Agatha Christie, and definitely, I mean, Agatha Christie and James Hadley Chase. These are all the ones which, when we were kids, it used to be the big ones. Now, of course, there's like so much more and so many. So I think, I don't know, I think some people like other things. Like, I don't know, this fascinates me.
So if you made a love story, then what would it be like?
Well, Merry Christmas is a
Merry
love
Christmas,
story.
yes, but it's a French novella, yes. Would it have a touch of mystery too, or?
Yeah, it should have.
Yeah, it should have, yeah.
So I'm making a war drama which has no mystery in it. I mean, but hopefully it'll still be gripping.
It's on some Indian war?
Yeah, the 1971 India-Pakistan war. It was just one aspect of it. That's coming out in September now. I'm plugging my own movie.
Actually, we are very grateful that Sriram joined us, because he's been shooting and he came back only late last night, and he agreed to come here to host this session. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. And I hope you all enjoy it. I almost feel responsible.
I don't think we need to worry about that. So let's sit back, switch off our mobiles, and enjoy a really juicy, timeless thriller. You know, you're going to be on the edge of your seats, and it's going to be great. Thank you, Mr. Raghavan, for your time
so
and
much.
the suggestion.